I like sharing my work in Seesaw with my parents because they get to see my hard work. I like the technology because you can search on Google to find stuff more about the world. I like the technology because you can find information on Pebble Go. I like to share my work with my parents because then I have something to explain it a little more.
During this school year, the school district instituted a technology pilot. The technology pilot included 4 first grade classrooms, 1 in each of the elementary schools. The purpose of the technology pilot was to see how the students would engage with technology in the classroom and see how the technology could enhance teacher instruction.
I've seen positive changes in my students' learning this year using the technology. They've increased their engagement with using different apps, being able to have choice in how they want to reflect on their reading, learning, their writing, their math. They like to voice record their discoveries, their findings. They like to draw pictures, use labels, and take pictures of their work.
It's fun to do cool things with technology. I like Seesaw because you can draw and then you can label and also do a caption. And you can take a video of a book you want in reading. You can take a picture of shapes, build people and put it on Seesaw, and then you can then your parents can see it on Seesaw when you get home.
I always enjoyed incorporating technology into the classroom, and having two young girls at home and seeing the technology that they bring home on a daily basis. I always feel like I need to get involved and understand that technology so that I can be part of what they're doing, whether it's socially or through the school district. So I kind of brought that same philosophy into my classroom, where I wanted to give them the best technology that's out there and be able to incorporate it into the learning so that I can better understand the type of learning that they're doing.
When this opportunity presented itself to be able to get more technology into the classroom, I thought what a perfect opportunity this would be. Having a few iPads in the classroom and some outdated technology that didn't always work the way I wanted it to work in my classroom. I thought this would be a fantastic way to get some new technology into the classroom, more technology into the hands of my students. And so when the opportunity presented itself, I said, yes, please, I would love to do this.
The students are more engaged in their learning, and they're more interested in what they're studying because they have the technology to enhance their learning. Their independence has grown using the technology because they're able to find answers by themselves. They're able to help each other with questions using the iPads and using some other of the resources that we've been given.
They airplay using the iPads to share findings that they discover on Epic Books app, Seesaw. They've taught their peers plus myself a lot of different tools that they've discovered by themselves. I've also allowed them to teach each other using the iPads and the camera dock and putting it up on the monitor.
I like Osmo because it's fun and you can play games on it, and they also help you learn. And the games that you could use buttons and you could press them and you could make the character move. And on yesterday we just started this Osmo word study.
I have seen them help each other more, I think, with the technology, because they learn the technology faster than I do. So I feel like because of that, they're really excited then to share something new that they've learned using the technology with each other. For example, in Word Study, we've been using the iPads with an app called Book Creator. And Book Creator is where the students are able to write a book digitally on the iPad using vocabulary from their Word Study time. And there were 5 students in my classroom that were trained in how to use Book Creator from the technology teacher. And then I divided the rest of the class up into small groups of 2 and 3 students. And those 5 students that knew how to use Book Creator turned and taught the other students in the class how to use it. So they were actually becoming the teachers, and I was kind of going around the classroom and looking and watching the groups and listening in and kind of learning myself as the students were teaching each other. So that was really exciting for me to see the students teaching each other. And I think that was really empowering for them, and they were really excited to be the teachers in that moment and to show their classmates how to do something new.
The balance of using the technology in the classroom and also traditional methods of the paper and pencil gives the teacher choice in what they would like to do for the lessons. Some students will do better using an iPad if they're maybe a reluctant writer, and it differentiates. It gives the teacher the option to differentiate the learning to meet the needs of their students in the classroom.
Trying to figure out when to incorporate the technology and when to use more traditional paper pencil assignments in the classroom. I definitely do use both when I'm teaching and when students are completing lessons. I think the technology is there to enhance the lesson and to enhance maybe the paper pencil assignments so that we're still doing both, but the technology is just taking their learning a step further and maybe even a little step deeper, because they can do researching, they can look up information on their own that they couldn't do just having a paper and pencil access to their lesson time. So I feel like the technology is enhancing their paper pencil work. But we're definitely using both in the classroom. We're still using paper pencil and technology together.
Having 2 young children myself, I have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old, and I know how important it is not to have my own children on their iPads or in front of a screen for a large part of the day. So I've been very mindful this year about not having my students using the technology for an extended or a long period of time. We use it daily during our morning meeting, our class meeting. The students are acting as meteorologists and giving the weather report. So we do start our day each day with a small piece. It's maybe 2 or 3 minutes at the most. And then throughout the day during math workshop, some of my students might be on the iPads doing their math rotations, but then I have other students that are working hands-on with manipulatives, playing card games or playing other games with their math partners. During Reader's Workshop, real books are in their hands on a daily basis, but we might have an opportunity to take a picture of a character in a story and then be able to use the technology to record ideas about their nonfiction thinking or the characters in the book. So it's really snippets of technology throughout the day instead of technology all day, every day.
I like using the iPads because I can use Geoboards. I like to use the iPads because there are a lot of things you could do. So you could take videos of these things that you could draw, and the tubs, the boards, and on boards you could draw your math thinking with your math partner, and then you could record it onto Seesaw. On the iPads, I like the notes because you can type, and there's different options that you can write on, like highlighter and pencil and all that, and there are different colors to choose from.
When you take a mentor text, I love books and picture books, but sometimes they're small. When you are able to take pictures of it with the document camera using the camera app and projecting it on a 65-inch monitor, it just brings it more to life. And you can zoom in on like words if you're working on, particular lessons in reading, or blowing up illustrations and finding different, pictures within the picture. Really enhances the lessons for the students.
We did a STEM project in our classroom, and the students were working in small groups. And while the students were working in their small groups, building their projects, I was able to go around and take my iPad and take actual photographs of their projects as they were working. And then I posted those pictures that I took, those photographs, onto the student Seesaw feeds, and then the parents were able to see, and there were parents that were actually responding right back to me in that moment. Wow, this is great, or oh, I like that project. Or so they really were almost, it was almost like they were here with us, while we were doing the project, which was really neat. So I really felt like they were almost in that moment with us. And I even looked at the students and said, see, your mom just posted back, about your project, which was really fun, and they got a big smile. So I think it really does bring the parents into the classroom in a way that they have never been able to come before, and I think that's really been a very powerful part of the technology that we've been given.
I take pictures of my work and put them on my journal so my parents can see it. I can record on there, I can draw whatever I want, and then I can make the answers, like if it's an addition problem or a times problem or anything, I can write the answer. Math is fun because you can type in math, or you can draw in math, or you can use shapes and put the pluses between them and put the number.
You have choices to take pictures, drawings, do video, and add labels, use voice recordings. So it's a way to add all kinds of work to an online portfolio that the parents have access to just for their student to see their work.
My parents have absolutely loved all the use of technology. They have mentioned that it helps them to have conversations with their children at home about what they're learning in the classroom. Just doing a quick Seesaw post or a pic collage and then posting that on Seesaw. We've made ebooks that have shared our learning that we've done. We went on a field trip to Howell Farm, and then we were able to create an ebook including pictures and text of what we experienced at the farm. And it's all of those pieces of our learning and throughout the day that the students get home, their parents ask them, what'd you do at school today? Nothing. Had fun, learned some, and they're able to ask them specific questions. I see, in math today you were learning about patterns. Tell me more about patterns. I see that you found patterns around your classroom. Maybe we can find some patterns around our house, and they've told me that they've been able to really incorporate what we're learning at school in their conversations at home, which is fantastic because it's extending their learning at home as well.
The parents have expressed to me through emails and even in person during conference time that they feel a stronger connection to the classroom this year because they're able to see what we do on a daily basis, and that makes them feel more a part of their students' education and understanding what level their students are working at on a given day.
Using the Seesaw Journal app, parents get information about their child's daily class activities. They will get their students' work from different subject areas that they can comment on. You can do family messages. I can give the parents the lessons that I'm working on and reading through anchor charts so the parent knows what their student is learning and reading. And that enables the parent to have conversations with their child at night about what they're learning in school. The parents also can comment on their students' work that's in their journal.
Now that the students have learned how to use Seesaw pretty well, they can record their voice, they can type captions, they can draw. It can easily be moved into other subject areas. So now the students are using it in reading. They're reading into their Seesaw feed so the parents can hear their reading and their fluency and their comprehension work. And that's really, I think, been really powerful for the parents to be able to see their students' work in real time.
So the students see the parents' comments, and it's a good interaction for the student because it happens instantaneously. The parents get notification right on their iPhone or their iPad or their computer and can respond immediately during their day.
When the students go home, the parents have something they can talk to their student about. They can say, oh, I see that you posted in math today and here's what you worked on and let's talk about it a little bit. Or, oh, I see your writing from today. I really like the story that you wrote. And I think it's really helped to increase the conversation at home between the students and the parents.
I'm glad that I participated in the first grade technology pilot this year. It allowed me to enhance my teaching by being able to try new methods for increasing student engagement. It's been wonderful to see the growth in my students this year with their capabilities with using the iPads, and also how their parents have responded to having the technology in the classroom. The parents come in and the students are excited to show them all the different things that they've learned this year.
Student engagement I hoped would boost, which I've definitely seen this year. When I tell the students we're going to be using the iPads for this activity, they cheer with excitement, they get very excited. And it's really turned into a natural thing in my classroom. Just like, we're going to pull out these manipulatives and use these blocks in our lesson, or use these teddy bear counters. We're going to take out the iPads and use them. We're going to make pic collages. We're going to post on Seesaw. We're going to share what we're doing in the classroom with your parents or with other students. They become very, very excited to be able to showcase the work that they're doing in the classroom.
I'm very glad that I joined the first grade technology pilot this year. I was a little nervous in the beginning because I wasn't sure, I'm not very technology savvy, and I wasn't quite sure, what was going to be expected of me. But as it turns out, I'm really glad that I did it. The students have become more independent learners because they've been able to use the technology to find information on their own and to help each other with their learning, and not just rely on me, the teacher, to be giving them all the information that they need. It's really been inspiring for them to use the technology, and they've really enjoyed it this year.
I like the technology in the classroom because you can make cool stuff and make your mom see them. Work on the Jailbird stuff to make cool designs. You could draw something that's math, and then you could post it on Seesaw. I like to share my work with my parents. I like sharing my work with my parents on Seesaw because they're proud of me, and they're proud of me because I'm doing my best work. I like having iPads in the classroom because they are technology, and you can also put educational stuff on it. My parents tell me that they're proud of me, and because I work very hard.